Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to this week's Link for Growth show for South West Hertfordshire. Got another packed show for you. Alex is going to be talking about the local election results and how you can comment on proposed boundary changes in Hertfordshire. Neil's going to be talking about a third local team to get promoted in the football team to get promoted, and also a possible new initiative for Watford.
Yep. Hi Diane. Hi everyone listening, viewing this. Yeah, everyone's not fed up of election results. I'm going to bring you the counter results for Three Rivers, for Hertsmere, and for Watford, and the news about some boundary changes involving Herts County Council. So all that fun stuff coming up.
Good. Neil.
Yes, I'll be reporting on some sports news that's happened locally and some more success. And there's a new, hopefully to launch initiative for Watford and to increase sustainability and local resilience, and we'll be talking about that as well.
Okay, great. And Chris, you're out and about again this week. I gather at the moment you're in that Reason coffee shop, but you're about to depart soon, and you're going off to talk to someone for us.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm waiting for you to wave your arms frantically about, and then I'm going to scoot off. So I'm going to go down and start digging on an allotment, I've been told.
You're not really dressed for allotment. You look a bit smart for allotments. I was thinking wellies and Ogle.
Yeah, but the weather picked up, so I can put my jacket on a fork or a spade or something and get stuck in.
Okay, great. Well, we look forward to seeing you in your wellies shortly then, Chris.
Is that my cue to disappear?
Yes.
Okay, see you later. I'm actually going to stay here. I'm just going to walk down the street, so you'll be able to see the glory of Watford High Street as I wander down the street.
Okay.
I'll see you later.
See you later. Okay. And of course, we had a busy week of events here in Watford and South West Hertfordshire for Link for Growth, and that started last Saturday with an event on the market, as usual. Alex, actually could fill us in.
Yeah, again, Chris and I were at the market. You, unfortunately, were at your TA training, so couldn't make it. But yeah, another great event for the market. We had a chance to speak to some traders, catch up on their news. Some of them moving on. For anyone who hasn't seen yet, Sweetie Sue and is leaving the market on the 27th. He's moving into a shop on Queen's Road with an old friend, AJ, who used to be in the old market, who's selling the spices, and they're going to combine a shop. And what they've done is, by having a shop on Queen's Road, they're saving the rent. They're paying about half the amount to double the space, so they've got a great deal on there. And just catching up with everyone else in there and finding out what's new. A few Mina from Shonley has taken over the two stalls that was run by Dan and Jordan at the very end of the market. She's now got 3 units to look after, and she's just sorting out that this week. And yeah, lots happening on the market.
Yeah. I think Dan has also moved to Queen's Road, hasn't he? And a couple of the old traders have moved there. Is that sort of, in your opinion, becoming the de facto market?
It's becoming. I'm going to say how it is. It's Queen's Road. If you're looking for a place to go, Queen's Road's got quite a low rent compared to the high street. So if you're looking to get a shop front, I'm sure Neil will tell you the prices on the high street are excessive. But from what I understand, Queen's Road is lower enough to be able to afford it for a trader to get a discount. So people looking to move out of the market are finding that Queen's Road is a good alternative.
Yeah, absolutely. The rents and rates in the high street, I can tell you, are extortionate. When I looked at Queen's Road, there didn't seem to be enough action going on, but in the last year there's been a lot of units taken up, so it's quite exciting. And I know the pub at the end's been taken over by the people who run Rodell's, so that should be a very nice restaurant and pub to go to. And I'm sure there'll be some Link for Growth events going on there. But it's going to turn into quite a nice street, Queen's Road. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I need to make my way down there more often, I think. There's nothing pulling you there as such, so you need a few things to get you there. So perhaps Sweetie Sue and AJ can be that kind of thing that get people there, and the rest of them can benefit from it.
Yeah, so I suppose they're going to call it Sugar and Spice, are they?
Yeah, they're calling it Sugar and Spice, and there's some flyers for anyone who hasn't seen all the details in the L4G by Watford community, so you can get by local Watford community, so you can find all the information about opening dates, and we've been invited down on the opening day to come and have a look around and stuff.
Okay, sounds like a fantastic place to go. Okay, and then on Monday we had link for coffee at your place, Neil, at Reason, and there's quite a few people there, I gather.
Yeah, it was a very good turnout, and some new people as well. Alex was making plenty of new contacts, and yeah, people keen to get involved in Link for Growth. So, as far as I was concerned, it was a very positive meeting.
And yeah, it's always good. We seem to be picking up more and more new people at the moment, which is a good, or more and more people are coming to the events, which is obviously a good thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's working out how we hope. The fact that we've got a high street presence, there are people picking up the cards that probably would have took a lot longer to find us. So hopefully it's accelerating the process, and that can only be good for Watford and good for us, and good for more events coming soon.
Yeah. Well, on Wednesday we had a link for drinks in Rickmansworth again, which was well attended. We had about 9 people there, including Les Mead, who used to be the leader of Three Rivers District Council and big advocate of Rickmansworth, and loves it with a kind of deeply held passion. And he also, for those who don't know, Les used to make videos, or makes videos rather, because he used to be a cameraman at LWT on, he was telling us about some of his TV experiences, which I won't repeat now, but they were quite hilarious and humorous. So hopefully Les will be pushing more membership down in that kind of area and promoting our activities down that way. Chris, I can see that you're walking down the High Street, and whilst you're walking down the High Street, perhaps you could tell us about the event you went to in St Albans, which was at the Metro Bank, I gather.
Yeah, I was down there on what day was it now? Wednesday.
Yeah.
And yeah, it went down really well down there. There was it was in the Metro Bank, so we're going to get one of those in Watford apparently very shortly. But yeah, it was about 12, 13 people, but the good news is there was 8 new people, which was fabulous. And of those 8, I think 4 of them will end up becoming part of the team. So, you know, it's a really, it was a really successful event. So they're all getting quite excited to join in. I think one of the people was coming to the OB Coffee Company on Monday.
Okay, brilliant. That sounds really good.
Yeah, it was a good turnout. And Metro Bank are very supportive. They're planning to have 200 stores by 2020. If we play our cards right, I think we should be able to have a link for coffee in all of them.
Yeah, I know from other sources that Metro Bank are planning to take the unit into the new Charter Place, and that's why they haven't established a store in Watford as yet. But you know, what with their extended opening hours and everything, it kind of fits in with their whole philosophy to have it in the middle of the shopping centre that's going to be also the centre of attraction for the town, with the big cinema and everything, and restaurants and the other plans for the area.
Yeah, absolutely. They've got some really interesting plans, and they're a bit different to the regular high street banks. But as we know from the meeting at up at Reason on Monday, there was another guy there from another kind of banking, online banking for business. So, you know, it's quite good to see the Big Five having to shape up, and it's the start of the whole transition of the banking sector to a kind of different way of operating, and they're going to have to go through some big changes. So that's going to be really interesting. Okay,
well that's good. And of course, yesterday we had a link for coffee in the Mercure Hotel on the 41, and that was quite interesting because again there was quite an important visitor.
That's enough about me.
I thought it wasn't about ego, Chris.
Only joking. You know I'm only joking, Alex. But yes, we had Mr. Harrington there, the re-elected MP for Watford, and yeah, he came down to do a brief interview with me, just to sort of give us an update on what's happened since he was elected and his view on how it went, and that was quite interesting. A bit noisy, so if you've not watched the video, turn the volume up because you won't hear him otherwise.
Yeah, we were hoping to show part of the video today, but things didn't quite work out on a technical front for some reason. But there is a link up on the Southwest Herts YouTube channel, so you can watch the video there. If you type in Richard Harrington MP re-election link for growth, then you'll find the video. It was quite a quite an interesting video, wasn't it? And there was also quite a few. I took some photos whilst we were there of the day, of what was happening and not happening, and it was an interesting meeting with quite a few people there as well.
Yeah, we're trying to turn him into a little bit of a celebrity by getting him to wear the Google glasses. We're going to try and get that a little bit out there. I think he might be the first MP to be wearing them, actually. So we might like to do a bit of research on that and check it out. But yeah, it was good fun, and I think he likes Link for Growth, and he likes talking to us. So that's good.
Well, we have the evidence, don't we? We have the filmed evidence of him wearing the glasses. Maybe we can get him involved, sort of thing, and to show the glasses, and maybe get him to actually interview you for a change, perhaps.
Yeah, that'd be a bit of a tall order. For anybody that wants to know where I am, I'm just walking behind St Mary's Church, and over there in the corner is the old Free House, which is the forerunner to Watford Grammar School. Dame Fuller, who actually started the school, was for the underprivileged children of Watford some 300 years ago, and they used to do a pilgrimage there every year. And behind that, you can see that building behind that's been burnt out in the background behind those buildings. Is that the one that had the fire?
No, the one that had the fire was the old King's building, I think, in the old white fronted building in King's Street.
Right. Oh, okay. But anyway, so I'm sort of down in the guts of Watford. Very nice part of Watford, actually. And these are almshouses opposite me here, which I won the photo competition with a picture from them, which was good news.
I know. But beginner's luck. Beginner's luck. Anyway, on a political note, Alex, last week we discussed the results from Westminster and how the Conservatives have been very well nationally, but at the time we couldn't comment on the local results because they weren't all in, but they're now in, and you've got some news about what's happening with the local elections, starting with Three Rivers, where I gather there's been quite a change.
Yeah, I promised this for the end of election talk. I know probably some people are getting a bit fed up of it. It's been a week since election. Everyone's still talking about it, but no. Three Rivers, we saw that the Lib Dems lost overall control of the council. And so it's quite a big deal, meaning there's no council ever control. So the Lib Dems now have to start working with other parties, which, unlike in Watford, which I'll come to, they can't now just shoehorn policies through. They have to work with the other parties. So it's believed to follow the national trend. So people at a local level following what happened, as we talked about last week in the show about the Lib Dems taking a hit because of their links with the government and stuff. So they've taken a hit there. They now have lost seats and now only have 19 out of a possible 39. The main winners were the Conservatives, raising their level up to 17. So a couple more seats swing here and there, and the Conservatives could be the larger party.
So when was the last time the Lib Dems, or how long previously had the Lib Dems been in control of the council?
I looked and looked and looked on the various sources and couldn't find any kind of information about how long they've been in charge. I will go back to my sources and find out.
It's been quite a while, hasn't it? Certainly.
Yeah. And it looks like Labour now with 3 seats hold the balance of power. Obviously, if Labour now vote with the Conservatives, they've got a majority, and it'll be impossible for Lib Dems to get them through. So Labour hold the balance of power and have said they're not going to form a coalition with the Lib Dems, and they're going to do it on a vote-by-vote basis. So some things maybe Labour will vote with the Lib Dems, some things they'll vote with the Tories. And it's going to be kind of one of those vote-by-vote bases. So we won't know what will happen until the day.
Okay, and in Watford, I gather there's also been quite a change with the BBC reporting that there's no overall control, but that's not quite true, is it? Because the mayor apparently can still vote in the county elections, in the council chamber, rather.
Yeah, even though the Lib Dems retain control of the council with the majority now of 1, which will be the mayor in essence, so they've got 18 seats. 1 plus the mayor's vote, so they're the 19, which gives them the majority. But this has been a real crushing defeat for the Lib Dems. They lost 6 seats, 4 to the Conservatives, 2 to the Labour Party. and real bad, and then the beginning of the end for the Lib Dems. They believe in Watford, and again linked to the national problems, linked to the fact they've been in government, and maybe more so at a local level, and with issues will be coming up later in the show. But Lib Dems having 18 seats, what plus for the mayor, Labour being the opposition with 13, and the Conservatives having 5 seats.
Yeah, and that's quite a climb for the Conservatives, because that's a gain of 4, isn't it? Which it always struck me as a bit strange that at one time the only Conservative elected politician for Watford was Richard Harrington.
Yeah, it's how sometimes maybe I don't particularly see why people feel comfortable. I suppose going slightly off topic outside of the district, but South Thanet itself, having voted against Nigel Farage, but voted for a full UKIP council. So I don't necessarily see why. Maybe it's just the idiosyncrasies of local government and stuff. But all 36 seats next year are up for re-election. So next year's a big year for Watford Borough Council. And if this is true, if this is the end of a 13-year grip that the Lib Dems have had on the council.
And finally, in Hertsmere, what happened over there?
We're a bit more boring in Hertsmere. The Conservatives increased their share by 3, so no real swing against the Conservatives. They've now got 37 of the seats, and it's
I'm just looking out because I'm a customer. Okay, won't be a second.
No problem, Neil. So so the only real bit of news was the 12-year veteran of the Labour's veteran council leader who lost their seat to a Tory newcomer. So that's the only real bit of interesting news that we've had from the elections. From in Hertsmere anyway.
Okay. Well, again, it kind of reflects the national effect, doesn't it? In this part of the country, where the Conservatives performing very strongly.
Yeah, and Hertsmere has always been a Conservative stronghold. It's very much Bushy, Elstree, Shenley, Potters Bar, Barwonwood. They're very much a strong Conservative stronghold. As I'm sure I said on the last week's show, you could have a pig and put a Conservative rosette on it. I think it would beat most of the candidates.
Okay, well, that's quite a sight. Perhaps one day we'll see it.
Yeah, and it's the reverse will be the same in northern industry towns where you could put a pig with a rosette of a Labour Party on it. They would win the elections quite comfortably. Yeah,
and I was going to save it till a bit later, your comments on how you can comment on the boundary changes, but since Chris hasn't quite made it to Farm Terrace and Neil has had to disappear off for a moment, perhaps you could talk about the election boundary review that's currently undergoing and how people can comment on what these changes are and where they can comment, how they can comment, and what deadlines there are.
No problem. If you thought local government issues are boring, boundary changes are mind-numbingly dull, but I've got the information if this interests you. All to do with just making it more fair, and what they're thinking of doing is adding an extra councillor onto the Herts County Council level. But from what I've read and understand, it's not going to affect either Hertsmere, Watford, or Three Rivers. It's going to move around the Dacorum, Stevenage areas. So Watford, according to the reports, unless people change and have an option to find out more about this and get involved with it, but Watford won't be getting any more councils. It'll be the Dacorum and Stevenage area. But for anyone who's interested for more about Watford and the other things, if you visit www.lgbce.org.uk/current-review-eastern-hertfordshire-Watford, and I'll put a link in that at the end so everyone can get that just in case you missed it. But you've got until now to the 6th of July to find out about what the proposed changes are, how they're going to affect you. But it's about making sure all the right number of people match the areas and giving Hertfordshire another seat on the council.
Okay, and so all these changes then are just in fact, all the changes that you've read about are, as you say, for a county level rather than the district or borough level.
Yeah, they're very much a Herts County Council level.
Okay, great. Is Neil back with us?
I am.
Okay, perhaps then, Neil, we could talk about some of the events that happened at Reason during the past week. That's including the coffee shop anti-stress event you ran on Wednesday, and the Forever Coffee evening with a donation to Thrive, which I think took place on Thursday.
Yep, so the regular Wednesday anti-stress colouring group happened again this week, and it's definitely going to be every week now because it seems very popular. There's some incredibly artistic people out there when you say it's just colouring. you see some of the pictures, it's much more than just colouring, and it's a great atmosphere. It's fantastic. Everyone's just having a chat, leaves extremely relaxed by the end of the group session, so that's fantastic. And yeah, last night Gemma Mandarin, who sells Forever products, which is aloe vera based products, she held an event in the store last night, and we are up to raising £7 for putting people through the Thrive program. So we're not far off being able to put our first person through the Thrive program. So that's fantastic.
Sorry, could you just repeat that number again? You dropped out at the critical point. The number of people you can put through Thrive.
So we're up to £70, which is it's getting towards being able to put our first person through, and hopefully within a few weeks we'll have enough money to put our first person through, and we'll have news of some more events even in this program.
Yes, a bit later on. Yes, some very exciting news there. And then, Chris, have you reached Farm Terrace Allotments yet?
Well, as you can see, I've ventured past the football ground, and I'm now down here at, as you can see, Farm Terrace Allotments. Now, I never even knew this place was here. Now, obviously, I've been aware of the campaign to save them, but I had no idea they were here. I mean, it's just one of them things you just don't know about Watford. I've lived here all my life, and I've never even known this place exists. But you know, I'm going in there now, and it's a green oasis in the middle of the centre of Watford. It's quite bizarre, and I can see Sarah's kids in front of me there. She said, "Follow the trail of books," which I'm sure they're somewhere, but I can't see them. But I'm gonna go and disturb them and see if I can grab a word. But it's really very pleasant down there, and you can see it's incredibly well looked after. They're not, as you'd have people believe, derelict things that no one's using. So.
In West Watford, definitely. It's a bit of heaven in West Watford.
It certainly is. We've got some, you know, as you can see, there's all the vegetables been planted out here, and you can understand why people are quite protective of them, because it really is a bit of a quiet spot in the middle of what's pretty busy.
So how big are they,
Chris? I'll take you for a walk so you can see more of it and you can get an idea of the extent of it.
Yeah, sure.
We feel here until Chris is ready.
We do. I was just going to say we seem to have lost Chris for a moment. Hopefully, no,
he's still here, but
we'll fill in, Chris. It's fine. We'll make that small talk.
We've lost the picture to Chris, so hopefully he'll.
No, I'm here. I'm just trying to reorganise myself so I can actually hold the camera and talk and do what I'm doing. So, but what? Yeah, how are you?
Good.
So, do you enjoy it down here?
Yeah.
Move the camera a bit to your right, Chris. We can't see anything. That's it.
My name is Sophia, and my sister brother is called Mary and Luca.
Chris, you're going to have to put the volume up. We can't hear you.
You want these allotments to stay, don't you? Sophia, is it? So we just a little bit there from youngest Trebar, I'm told. Yeah. Okay. So we're just going to go for a little tour around here now.
Can you find out, Chris, how long
there are 3 tiers. There are about 128 plots. There are 5 poles, so they're half the size that they were originally. So it means that although there are 33 plots being worked, there are only 27 tenants still here. Now, largely that's because the council closed the waiting list back in 2012. So anybody who left their plots, somebody else didn't get the chance to take it. There was no list because they closed that. So therefore, the ones that were then abandoned remained derelict looking, as you can see from this one over here, for example. Then what also happened was in September of this year, the council also issued letters saying to people that they would give them various amounts of money if they would leave the allotment. And that went up to £1,000.
Chris, can you find out how long the allotments have been there?
And this is an orchard here. We've got artichokes over there, globe artichokes, and then various fruit trees through here. It's worth bearing in mind as well that the allotment dates back to 1896. Before that time, it went right behind the hospital, right up to the Ebury Way, and it was about 4 or 5 times the size that it is now. And over time, of course, the council has taken slices off it. Not our council, obviously, it's in the past. And it's remained now at this size for about the last sort of 40 years, I think.
So what's the big building that we saw earlier? Is that the back of the football ground or the back of the hospital?
No, I was saying, so it's been about the same size that it is now for about 40 years. And when we got a plot, which was 6 years ago, it was about 90% occupancy, so 90% of the plots were being used. And it was great because there were new plot holders coming in all the time, and it was shortly after that that they closed the site. You can see the hospital over here now, as we're coming along the side. But as you can see, that in between all the plots that are vacant, there are plots that are being used and well, not just that, well used and well loved as well. And then if you come here, you can see this is the extent of where the health campus will run, basically as far as the eye can see there, right across. And down there you can see the spoils of where they're making the new road and the new railway link. And I think with that, it perhaps best sums up why this land is so valuable, because of the road and because of the train link that's coming in. I mean, you've got to bear in mind that although the allotments are quite large, it's only 15% of the whole health campus area. And basically, at the moment, the plans that they can agree on are 68 houses and a car park. And the ironic thing is the car park will be just here where we walked originally and where you saw Vincenzo working. So arguably the best plots will be lost to a car park, which is, you know, in my mind, it's criminal. But yeah, it goes on and down there. And it makes me laugh because when you stand here now, I mean, there is the sound of the hospital, there are sirens that you can occasionally hear, but for all intents and purposes, we might as well be in the countryside for what it gives you and for what we get from it. And you saw how my children were enjoying it. My children have grown up on this allotment, and to them it's an amazing space for them to go off and discover and make dens. And also, the really important thing which you get with allotments is this communication with different people, and with different groups and with different ages. So you get the old men helping out the little children, and you get that kind of social space, which I think is what makes an allotment very, very different from gardening in your back garden. And again, if you're lucky to have enough to have a back garden, because here in West Watford, well, one of the most densely populated areas of Watford, you know, when we first moved here, we had a tiny backyard and 3 very small children. And this, you know, just to have an allotment was amazing, but then to have the whole space for the kids to run about on was absolutely, you know, you can't put a price on that to me.
I mean, yeah, it's when you look at what they've reported in the newspapers, you think this is like a beaten up, run down, nobody comes here type of place, which is best just scrapped off and start again almost. So when you come down here and you actually look around, as I'm sure you guys back at the studio can see, it's actually quite a nice place. And actually, if they hadn't have let these plots go, it would have been probably more used now.
When you think about it in terms that, you know, the Watford Food Bank, I was in touch with them recently, they're 40% up on last year. 40% more people are using food banks. And you've got probably about sort of 80 plots not being used here. You know, those could be feeding a family. Those could be helping a family out, not just with the food, but also with the emotional and the social skills that we were talking about before. So the fact that Watford Council haven't let that happen, when they could have done, they could have let the list open, is, to my mind, criminal, because it's up to somebody else. If you say to somebody, would you like a plot here, it may or may not be used as part of a development in a couple of years. I think you'd still find quite a lot of people who are interested. But unfortunately, we can't allow that to happen because it's not within the rules. And that breaks my heart. Also, with Watford being such a multicultural place, which I absolutely love, to me, the integration, as we talked about before, is a massive factor. And, you know, if you just zoom up at the flats there, you've got all those flats that have no garden. A lot of people that I know who live there are foreign people. They don't even understand that they could have a plot here for, I think we pay £40 a year for our plot. And for that, they could be down here and joining in and growing things. And and enjoying life as we are. And that, I think, is absolutely terrible.
So there you go, Diane. That's kind of a little bit of a story down here, and to be honest, it was so important for us to actually come down here and just have a look around, because I don't think you get the real size of the plot and actually what is going to be swallowed up by this development. And actually, I can't understand why some of this can't remain. I mean, why do they need all of it? I don't know.
Chris, so
this is something we've come back time and time again. Even when we won at the Royal Courts of Justice, we said to them then we are happy to compromise, absolutely. Even if you don't need it for the hospital, which we know they don't. But even if you don't need it for the hospital, we're tired. Nobody's paying me to campaign for Farm Terrace. I've got 3 children. I want to get on with my allotment. Thank you very much. We would have happily compromised, but they didn't want to hear a word of it. And what really upsets me is we've invited Mayor Dorothy many here and talk to us, and she's frightened of being ambushed, she's frightened of some awful protest, and it wouldn't coincide with this. It just wouldn't happen. We just want her to see it, and we want to talk to her, because I think these allotments could be a vital part of the health campus, in actual fact, the only healthy part, but they could have been integrated in it, they could have been part of it, and I think to not have that sense of vision is very small-minded. I really do. And we've always said that if the hospital needed the land, we would give up the allotments. As much as it would break our hearts, we understand that hospitals are more important. But until they can prove to us that's the case, then we're not going to.
Chris,
thanks ever so much for talking to us, Sarah. Sorry, Diane, you want?
I was just going to say, what's the next stage after the election? Has that kind of moved or changed the situation in any way for the Farm Terrace Allotment Group, or is it a case they've always, as it were, they're now, what's been done has been done and they can't do anything about it?
I just asked that question. So now the election's over, we're out of Purdah. What's the next step?
Now we're waiting for a decision. Now, bear in mind that originally we were given a 3 months time scale for them to do it from scratch. Now, it's whether or not the new Secretary of State wants to go in and do it from scratch, or whether or not he just looks at the notes from the previous Secretary of State and the previous ministers. So basically, how long is a piece of string? We don't know. It could be next week. It could be in 3 months. We're imagining something sort of in the middle. And then again, it depends what happens after that, because obviously if he agrees to the deregulation, then our lawyers have to look at exactly why he's agreed to it and if there are any points that we can then pick up on. But what's interesting for us is that whatever happens, we have 12 months left here, because they have to give us 2 growing seasons. Now, as we all know, in May of 2015, there's a complete council election because the boundaries of Watford are being changed. So we're hoping that there will be more Labour candidates, more Labour council members, who even at that point could then regulate the allotments back again, if that makes sense. So it was very good news for us that there were fewer Liberals on the council. So we've got a long way to go yet. And and when I first started this over 2 years ago, I thought 6 months. And we're still here 2 years ago. So as you can see, the allotments are still being worked. In fact, if anything, they're being worked more this year than they have previously, because I think people are beginning to believe that we really do have a very good chance of winning this. And when you're down here in the summer, there's no way you could think about giving it up. So I don't know. Watch this space, basically, but we're not going anywhere.
Fantastic stuff. Thanks ever so much for talking to us. There you go. That's me over and out from down here at the Farm Terrace Allotments. And
just going to say, Chris, there was also a blog that Sarah wrote, and perhaps you'd like to just very briefly outline what her views on whether or not we need an elected mayor.
Oh, right, okay, yeah. So Diane's just said that you wrote a blog on the elected mayor situation. What prompted that?
That was just basically from talking to lots of people throughout this whole fiasco who said, how can we, Mayor Dorothy why is she being so stubborn about it, and how was she allowed to do it? So you start looking into the whole elected mayor situation. And I don't think a lot of people in Watford understand about the elected mayor system at all. So my suggestion is basically, let's have a vote on it. Let's see who wants it and who doesn't. It's not necessarily about ostracising Mayor Dorothy. It's about that role. And my personal opinion is that 4 years in term is too, and having so much political power is too much. I think we need to go back to the old system of having a mayor. But that's my personal opinion. I can't say to people that's what you've got to do. But lots of people have complained to me about it, and so this is why that prompted that, was just to give people the choice. Now, people may not want it. People may want to continue that role. People may want Mayor Dorothy to stay in it. People may not want her to stay in it. but at least we're giving them the option of a vote next year to decide if they want an elected mayor or not. Because the thing about an elected mayor is the decision was made without the choice of the people to have it, although the choice in mayor is the choice of the people, if that makes sense. So when it comes down to the old-fashioned way, then it will be voted in throughout the council, and the council decide, not the people. But the problem that I have with that is that only 33% voted for the mayor, 68 voted for the general election. So I think people don't necessarily want to vote because they don't like any of the candidates. So that makes me think that they don't, will necessarily want that. So all the petition is trying to do is to try and clarify whether or not the people of Watford want to have that decision about whether or not to have a mayor or not. So hopefully that will continue, I think, for a little while as we get that out and about. Because I think a lot of people think it's, a kind of me having a nasty go at Mayor Dorothy and trying to get out of it. If that was the case, I would have done a petition to get rid of Mayor Dorothy. It's a different thing. What I want to know is if people want an elected mayor.
Okay.
Thanks so much. Has that clarified it for everyone?
Yeah.
So, Alex, legally, if the decision was made that there was not going to be an elected mayor in Watford, following on from what Sarah said, how would it be done? I mean, would it be done through a change in parliamentary rules and regulations, or would the local council have to vote for it, or would it require an act of parliament?
I haven't got the foggiest. I'll put it politely and honestly, I haven't got the foggiest. But what I can tell you is people of Watford voted in 2001 for a referendum, and 52%, back in this month, it was 2001, 52% of the people said we do want an elected mayor, and 48% didn't. But the interesting thing is, it kind of going back to what you were saying, Sarah, 25% was the turnout. So really, no one, 25% of what would have been about 70,000 people cared enough to find out if they wanted an elected mayor or an appointed mayor through the council. So maybe there's something in that. But yeah, possibly. But I don't know how we would go about it.
It's obvious that you skipped the constitutional law lectures, Alex.
We're dealing with bigger issues than how to get rid of a mayor, or not more stuff. As I remember Neil's video earlier about human rights. Those bigger political issues.
Okay,
that's enough about politics for this week, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Neil, you've got some exciting news about a third local football team that's gained promotion.
Yes, so after the success of Watford and local team Langley getting promoted to their highest ever level, another local team, Boreham Wood, have just been promoted into the Conference League, which is the highest ever level, and that's a massive achievement for a very, very small club. It's a huge achievement.
So what is the Conference League? What kind of level is it?
So the Conference League it's mostly professional league now, and it's one level below Division 2. So one more promotion, and they would be in the Football League official.
So that's what, 5 levels down from the Premier League where Watford play?
4 levels down. 4 levels down for the Premier League. So that's pretty impressive for a small place like Boreham Wood.
Okay.
I've got some other news as well, if you'd like.
Yeah, I was just going to talk about Marek for a moment. And,
Sorry, can I just interrupt the interruption? Sorry, Diane. I've got a comment from Paul Roberts about the allotments.
Okay.
He was saying, Paul says, amazing to see the allotments in greater detail. All the pictures and videos I've seen in the past, Watford Observer, BBC, etc., do not justify the size and work that goes on there.
Well, thanks for your input, Paul. I should have said earlier on that if you want to get in touch, you can via the website, which is http://bit.ly/L4G SWH, and then lowercase HERTS, or Twitter at L4G SW Herts. Okay, so sorry, Neil, carry on about other local sports events, please.
Yeah, no problem. So the football season's obviously been wrapping up all over the country. So just locally, a few success stories. Chorleywood Storm under-11 team have completed a quadruple and won every tournament they've been in this year, and are undefeated, winning all 29 matches. So that's a massive achievement for Chorleywood. Evergreen under 12s won the Herts Youth League Intermediate Cup, beating Watford Town. So Evergreen, a smaller club than Watford Town, so they'll be incredibly pleased with that. So on the ladies, Watford ladies got their first win of the season. The ladies actually play in the summer, so their season's just getting off to a start while the men's game's ending, and they got their first win of the league, which is good news because they hadn't had a great start to the season. It was starting to look a bit worrying. And we'll go to golf. On golf, Bushy golfer Callum Shinkwin came third in the Turkish Airlines Challenge. That's a level below where Rory McIlroy and the people play. So that's a hell of a achievement for a local golfer there. And on to cricket. Just a couple of cricket results. Kings Langley beat Hemel Hempstead to reach the second round of the Watford Observer 14-14 trophy. And in the women's cricket, Radlett ladies dispatched Twickenham with ease. So that's another local team doing well.
Okay, great. Again, America's still looking for sponsorships for his 50k run, which is taking place off the top of my head Sunday week. So we talked a lot about that last week, so I'm not going to say any more. The photo competition, we've also had quite a few entries in for the L4G photo competition, which is a national competition. The idea is we photograph trees and bushes and flowers in urban landscapes, and the whole idea is to get people to look at the environment that they live in. So even concrete, there are still green patches in the middle of that. So okay, now we've just been able to confirm this afternoon, going back to Thrive and Reason and the support that you give them, Neil, that the wine tasting event is definitely on now. We can announce ticket prices and confirm dates and how many tickets are on sale.
Yep. So it's definitely happening, which is great news. It's happening on Thursday, the 9th of July. Ticket prices will be £25. I'm not absolutely sure how many there are. 25 to 30. We've just got to figure out the seating, but 25 to 30 people, and all profits will be going to help put people through the Thrive program, which will be helping people with. They may have depression, fears, phobias, social anxiety. It's good for all those things. But so we're going to be able to help some people, which is fantastic news.
Yeah, and Julia Jenkins, who is holding the wine tasting event, did something similar for the Watford Women's Centre last year, and it was a fabulous event and very well attended. And, I know that she's looking to repeat the success of that event in a smaller venue this time for the Thrive program. She's tasting 8 wines as she did last time, I know that, and the wines last year, I mean, you were there, Alex was there as well. Perhaps you could both comment on the quality of the wine and how good an evening it was.
To be honest, I can't remember much about it. To be honest, it was that good an evening.
It was a very good evening, and the wines were fantastic. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to it, and it's great to be able to support a local supplier as well.
Yeah, how do people buy tickets? Have tickets now gone on sale? Is it just sorting that out as well?
Well, I'll put something up on the Eventbrite in the next day or two, and we'll also have some tickets, hard tickets to sell from Neil's shop, and for you and Chris and I to have to hand out to people in exchange for cash then and there, sort of thing.
Okay, sounds good.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it should be a good evening. Now, I suppose the big event locally this weekend is the Bricky Festival. Alex, I know that you're tangentially involved with the Waterways experience again, as you were briefly outlined last week. Perhaps you could tell us a bit more about what's happening at the festival this weekend.
Yeah, again, Ricky's been Ricky Week this week, so lots of stuff happening. I'm sure you've seen all the photos and stuff. 2 boats gone down from Nashville this morning. We'll take motors today to get down there. If anyone wants to go and visit them, they're outside Tesco's. They've been given the prime location, and it's really interesting. It's a festival, all things canal related. So there's hundreds of boats coming from around the country. Really, people come down to these festivals, especially this time of year. We've started to get into festival season for the canal, so people go on festival trips, weekend trips to Crick or Apsley or this one in Rickmansworth, and boats come down. I've seen they're going to have a horse-drawn boat, so working boats, holiday boats, timeshare boats you can buy into, and all the associated products that come with that. So there's all the chandlery, boat handling wear. And I remember last year there was someone selling vodka, I think, and it was quite weird. And lots of little independent crafty people selling stuff and food stalls. There's the whole band program lineup. So lots of stuff happening.
Okay, and well, that sounds absolutely fabulous, and hopefully the weather's going to be good, because I've been to the Ricky Festival once or twice before, and it has always seemed to have poured. The other thing I was going to mention was the fact that there's a night of mystical magical wonders at Watford Museum on this Saturdays between 6 and 10.
Yeah.
It's part of Culture 24 Museum's Night Festival. Do you know anything more about that?
Yeah, if you bear with me on it, I'll find out all the details. You've thrown that one on me. I don't think it was on the list.
But why? Okay, so why Alex is looking that up? Just one more thing happening in the town on Sunday. The first of Watford's big events happens, and that's a concert in the parade that will be going on from 1 o'clock in the afternoon until 9 o'clock in the evening, and that will be starring X Factor winner Rebecca Ferguson, who's just got a new album out. So she'll be on stage at 8:30. So that'll be a big thing for Watford.
Okay.
If you want the information now, Diane, I'm ready when you are.
Please.
Yeah, so museum at night at the Watford Museum tomorrow between 6 and 10. I might pop along for a while. A special event at the Watford Museum to explore kinetic animation, soundscapes, drop-in zoetropy, workshop, live music, vinyl sale from the LP Cafe, drinks bar from Popeshire Brewery, exhibitions and more. So lots of different things going on. There's tea and coffee by the LP Cafe. They've got a vinyl sale, a Zoetrop workshop, not particularly sure that is, local brewed beer from Popeshire, sculptures, rap workshop, lots of stuff going on. So yeah, completely free, go along. Watford Museum's on the bottom end of Lower High Street, so yeah, pop in and see what's going on.
Okay, and Neil, there's a new initiative that you're heavily involved with, starting on Tuesday evening, I believe, and that's to make Watford a transition town. So what is a transition town?
Yep, that's Tuesday evening in the shop, and everyone's welcome to come along and find out. But so what a transition town is, about 2008 in Totnes, someone came up with the idea that we are running out of oil as a world, and we need to transition to a more sustainable way of living. So transition towns take many forms, and it's up to each individual town what they want to do, but it's about having a sustainable future. So the four main areas are energy, food, recycling and transport. And Tuesday's meeting is just to see who's keen to get it going and what ideas people have got. Obviously there's a lot of people doing some really good work in these areas already, so it'd be a case of trying to expose those groups and get them better known and more people using them. But it's just about creating an awareness locally that we want to be a more sustainable town.
Okay, so what are the expected benefits, or what have been the benefits in, say, Totnes and other towns in the country?
Well, it ties in very well for Link for Growth, because what it does, it strengthens community. People produce a lot more locally and also buy a lot more locally. So you end up having a lot more recycling. You have a lot more upcycling, which is rather than stuff going to the dump, they have swaps, so people use unwanted products. And overall, it brings the energy usage down for the area, it creates greener spaces, and it creates cleaner air. So it's all good, really. It's all things you would want to have, whether you are keen on the environment or not.
So where's the nearest local town to Watford then? So if people wanted to go and see what a transition town looks like, where would they go?
So if people wanted to experience Transition Town in action, you only have to go and see the local market in Kings Langley, which is once a month on a Saturday. I'm not sure which Saturday, unfortunately. But that is all local producers, and that is a Transition Town initiative to have people to buy local.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, it sounds exciting, and that meeting is on 6 o'clock on Tuesday evening, I believe.
6 o'clock Tuesday evening, the first one. It's just called a kick-off meeting, and it's just to throw ideas around and see if people are serious about doing it. But there's been a lot of interest, so I'm pretty sure it's going to happen.
Good, good. Okay, so moving on to Link for Growth events this week. Chris, Alex, and I'm not doing TA, and TA is not Army, by the way. It's transaction. We'll be at the market tomorrow, and on Monday there's Link for Coffee at Ocean Bells at the High Street, which is the opposite end to where Neil is. It's down the end next to Pizza Express and the Boots entrance onto the High Street. Tuesday we've got, and that's at 10 o'clock. On Tuesday we've got Link for Coffee at the kitchen in Croxley Green. And Chris, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I can hear you all, but you just can't see me.
Okay. Perhaps you could tell us a bit more about the kitchen and Croxley Green. I know we visited there last week, and from what I've seen, they do a wicked range of cakes.
Yeah, they do a wicked range of cakes, actually. As you can see, I'm just outside. Well, I should actually turn around, shouldn't I? Really, so so Neil can see his famous Watford Football Club there behind me. So yeah, and the kitchen in Croxley is it's a place that we discovered sort of by accident, really, through another lady called Jemana Vonat, who was basically promoting some prom dresses, and I met the lady there who basically just opened the kitchens in Croxley. She was baking loads of cakes at home, and decided that she ran out of space, really, so she took on this place, and I met her there, and we were running an event a little bit down the road, and I thought, well, actually this is a local place, and we ought to really move it there. So that's what we did. Second time of asking this month. So if you like your cake, and you like your coffee, and you like talking to other people, then that's the place to go on Tuesday morning.
Okay, great. And you'll be there?
That's an interesting question, actually. I should be, but I might not be, because I might have to cover for someone else. So we'll have to wait and see on that one.
Okay, well, if not, I'm sure Alex will be. Okay, then Thursday there's Link for Coffee at Boreham Wood at the Holiday Inn. Chris, do you have any more information on the details, or?
Yeah, that's looked after by Claire Pilikian, and there's a new lady that's helping her with that one. We did used to have that round the corner, but it's just moved now to the Holiday Inn. We have quite a number of our events in Holiday Inns. They're quite supportive of what we're doing. So yeah, that used to be on a Friday, so that's moved to a Thursday, which just so happens in this particular month, because the Friday was the first. We've got Barnet the following day, which normally they're a week apart, but they're basically consecutive days now for that one, so that's a shame, but never mind.
Well, for those who don't, if you require a hit after Link for Drinks also on Thursday, perhaps they can sober up at Barnet.
Sorry to interrupt, Diane. Why would you want to go to Barnet when you have the excellent canal trip in Nash Mills? Sorry to interrupt.
I was coming to that, Alex, but I wanted to.
When people get the ideas in their head, they can't get rid of them.
Nash Mills might actually be fully booked, so you might have to go to Barnet after all.
Well, yeah, I was going to come to that. But also on the 21st, we've got Link for Drinks at Watford High Street at the Moons Pub, starting at 6 o'clock. Last time we had about 25 people there, and it was a really good evening. I gather I left about 10:30, being good and innocent, and I gather a few of you who are less good and less innocent stayed much longer, Alex.
Guilty as charged, Your Honour, and I confirm the other two guests on me as guilty as well.
I left at 10:35. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I remember that. It's 10:35 the next day, I think.
But generally, the Link for Drinks in Watford, especially, tends to be well supported and tends to be a very good event with lots of people turning up for, just to have a chat and to get to know each other and to get to know other people in the community who they wouldn't normally meet. So it's always a good thing. And then Friday, as Alex said, we have Link for Coffee at Nash Mills. Now, if the event is fully booked, I believe they take the boat out for us and everyone goes on a canal trip. We took a few photos first time and did it for us 2 months ago, and I understand that's the plan again this time. Alex?
Yeah, not been in contact just yet. I'll sort an email out today, but I believe there's about 7 or 8 people in. There's kind of a boarding party from northwest London, no, northeast London, coming to join us this time. So you get not only a chance to see the canal and meet people in the local area, you get to meet people from northeast London as well.
Okay, well, it sounds good, and yeah, hopefully the weather will be good, and because that part of the canal is actually quite picturesque, isn't it? Especially if they come towards Watford.
Yeah, but I'll see if I can make a request and put in a word to get the boats going south, because you've got more of I don't know how far you can get, but you can get through King's Landing up to that 100 bridge, the M25. But if you took the whole day, you get into the Grove and Catesby Park, which is a lovely bit of the country.
Okay. Right then, well, I think that's about it from all of us, unless I've missed something off. Hopefully not. Neil, anything to add?
Just nothing confirmed yet, but there could be some 2 new events confirmed by next week. So tune in next week, and we'll have 2 very exciting events for you.
Well, fingers crossed that they all come out. So see you next week. Chris, anything to add?
No, just thanks to Sara Jane Trebar for showing us around the allotments. Really is quite an oasis in the middle of the heart of Watford, and you can see why people who work there on those allotments are so passionate about them. So thanks for her for showing us around, and you know, it was really interesting. I thoroughly enjoyed myself, to be honest.
And Alex?
Yeah, that's nearly everything. Me again, I've got a couple of events in the pipeline, so more on that when it comes to you. So no spoilers, but things are being worked on, more linked work events in the local area. Okay, great. And from me, I'll say cheerio and thank you for watching. And with a quick reminder, if you do want to get in touch, please get in touch via the web address that you see there, which is http://bit.ly/L4GSWH, all in caps, and ERTS in lowercase. Or if you want to tweet to us, then you can at L4G SW Herts. And thank you very much for watching.